Commercial construction is facing a new reality. Regulations like LEED v5 and New York's Local Law 97 have moved embodied carbon limits from optional green building goals to strict legal mandates. Missing these limits carries a steep price. Under Local Law 97, a building exceeding its carbon cap faces an annual penalty of $268 per metric ton of excess emissions. That adds up to millions over a standard building's lifespan. You cannot hit those fast-moving targets with traditional procurement. Sending emails back and forth to track down environmental product declarations, or EPDs, takes weeks, halting project momentum entirely. This creates professional paralysis. Specifying a new, lower-carbon material carries the risk of a structural failure or code violation. It is easier and legally safer for architects to stick with familiar, high-carbon legacy materials. But that default choice no longer works. Sourcing sustainable materials is now a strict financial liability for developers, meaning architects have to adapt, or their clients pay the fines. The industry actually has excellent data to solve this. Platforms like Building Transparency's EC3 operate as the brain, hosting a massive, verified database of environmental material information. On the opposite end of a project, you have site management software like Procore. It handles the physical construction, the schedules, and the budgets. This diagram maps the current software stack, and right in the center is the problem. You have clean data on the left and clean site management on the right. Between them sits the procurement gap, a chaotic mess of manual spreadsheets, PDF hunting, and disconnected emails. Junior specifiers spend countless hours trapped in that gap, searching supplier websites to find vendors meeting compliance requirements. GreenChainz replaces that manual labor. It acts as the execution layer, the muscle pulling data directly from EC3 into a live purchase order for the site. Lowering the carbon footprint of a building requires actually buying the right concrete and steel, not just running a passive calculation. To understand how this works, we have to look at how specification decisions are made. Architects choose ordinary Portland cement because they know exactly how it behaves, and they know they won't get sued if they use it. GreenChainz intercepts that habit loop right where the design happens, using a plugin built natively inside Autodesk Revit. As soon as an architect models a high-carbon element, like this standard concrete wall, the proprietary swap engine fires. It queries the EC3 database and immediately surfaces verified, lower-carbon alternatives right inside the BIM interface. It ranks these alternatives using a composite compliance performance score, balancing the carbon threshold against project cost and baseline engineering codes. This visual breakdown of the scorecard shows how the math works in practice. A material gains points for verified EPD data, but it faces a severe 30-point active penalty if it contains toxic chemicals found on the Living Building Challenge Red List. The system also enforces a strict legal safety net. If a material's data is unverified or relies on proxies, its score is rigidly capped at 65. The architect sees a low-confidence warning, and the material is filtered out of automated recommendations. By running code compliance and liability checks simultaneously, the plugin neutralizes the fear of toxic tort litigation before the design is even locked in. Once the design is approved, the workflow shifts to the procurement team. This is exactly where sustainable material initiatives fail and project delays begin. Requests for information, or RFIs, cause massive friction on the job site. They happen when project drawings are unclear or environmental compliance paperwork is missing from a supplier. GreenChainz automatically generates complete CSI master format submittals the moment a material swap is confirmed. The EPDs, material declarations, and verification certificates are pre-packaged and ready for general contractor sign-off.
That leads directly into the platform's core capability, building a sourcing cart and launching an automated request for quotation, or RFQ, with a single click. This map illustrates the distance-aware routing logic. Heavy materials like concrete and masonry are routed strictly to hyper-local suppliers to minimize transportation emissions. Lightweight materials trigger a national search for the best verified source. This efficiency requires a trade-off. Procurement teams have to give up traditional, relationship-based price haggling with their preferred vendors, accepting instant, standardized algorithmic bid routing instead. In exchange, a process that used to take 3 days of manual email tag is compressed into an actionable bid in under 15 minutes. General contractors carry their own set of anxieties. A highly innovative eco-startup might produce a zero-carbon biocement, but if that startup goes bankrupt mid-project, the entire construction schedule collapses. GreenChainz acts as a financial gatekeeper, severely vetting every supplier on the platform before they ever receive a bid request. The first gate is an Altman Z-score financial health screening. This mathematical test specifically identifies and filters out vendors operating on the edge of insolvency. The second gate tracks delivery reliability. Suppliers must maintain a 95% on-time in-full delivery rate. If they drop below 75%, they are permanently removed from the system. For premium-tier suppliers, that data goes even deeper. This verified supplier profile shows the financial and delivery safety badges alongside a live inventory connection, letting buyers see exact stock levels before an RFQ is sent. The direct consequence of these corporate-grade vetting gates is a significantly narrowed supplier pool. Many smaller, well-meaning sustainable brands simply will not qualify to list on the platform. But prioritizing operational solvency over pure sustainability is the only way to build the trust a general contractor needs to actually sign a purchase order. Looking at the broader software landscape clarifies exactly where GreenChainz fits in compared to legacy alternatives. Many firms rely on premium lifecycle assessment calculators, like one-click LCA, to manage their carbon reporting. However, industry audits of these tools reveal a critical limitation. As this review notes, they have zero supplier marketplace or RFQ automation. They function purely as analytical tools, not procurement channels. This comparison matrix highlights the functional difference. LCA tools run the math, and Procore handles the job site, but only GreenChainz connects the Revit design to automated RFQs and vetted suppliers. This makes GreenChainz additive to environmental databases like EC3. It partners with the data layer to execute the transaction. An LCA tool will tell you the precise environmental impact of a building material. GreenChainz is the only software that actually helps you buy it. On the design side, GreenChainz is built for architects who are terrified of compliance audits and need defensive, auto-generated submittal paperwork to protect their firm. On the execution side, it is built for procurement teams and general contractors who require guaranteed supplier reliability and hyper-local sourcing to keep a project on schedule. If your team only needs a whole building carbon analysis tool and has no intention of changing your actual purchasing behaviors, this platform is overbuilt for your needs. Adopting this workflow requires a genuine trade-off. You have to be willing to abandon familiar 20-year vendor relationships and place your trust in an algorithmically curated digital marketplace. In exchange for that trust, teams eliminate hours of administrative waste and gain the verified documentation required to defend their specifications during a carbon audit. If environmental databases serve as the blueprint for physical decarbonization, GreenChainz is the heavy machinery required to actually get it built.